Hello YouTube and friends, welcome to another video from AK Reef Guy. This video is going to be different than the others. Other ones I just like to show you what I've been doing with my aquarium, and I've been trying to think from the tanks that I have at home, what advice can I offer to new people? And what sparked this conversation was when I was in the LFS, local fish store. There was a gentleman that walked in and he was buying, something like 50 gallons of RO water. So he's starting up a new tank and he had all these buckets and he was filling them up. And at that point I was like, dude, you might as well just get an RO system. And it sparked a conversation between us, about his new tank. And he was going to use a canister filter, okay, with this aspiration to have a reef tank like this. Now, the gentleman that works at the store and I have disagreeing opinions on this. I was recommending to the new guy that he should consider a sump, whereas the person at the store said he'd be fine with the canister filter. Now, there is lots of debate on YouTube about whether or not you can have a canister filter on a reef tank, which undoubtedly you can. Okay. Now, what it comes down to is maintenance. Okay. Let's be honest. Us reefers are known for being lazy. And me, personally, I'm a seasonal reefer. I live in Alaska. Right now, I'm in Dutch Harbor for work. Windows are filthy, but I'm in the middle of, you see that boat right there. So if you watch Deadliest Catch, yeah, I'm right in the middle of that area where they come to get fuel in the processing plant. So in the summertime in Alaska, last thing I want to do is play with my reef tank. Okay. So that being said, a lot of people are like that live in northern states or other areas. You got other things going on. So when you're picking out a reef tank in your equipment, it's very important to consider ease of maintenance. Okay, because if it has lots of steps, if it's difficult, if it's overly complex, we as humans, that usually translates to less consistency. Okay? So at home, I have 3 tanks. Okay, I have the 90 gallon. If you've been following my channel, you've seen that tank. Okay, it has a sump. It is my first aquarium with a sump. It still has yet to have water put into it besides, the first initial water test. So my initial thoughts is that it's very nice. The filter socks are down there. I have a lot of room. I put my heater down there. The pros for a sump is you can hide your equipment. You can increase your water volume. You can have much more options for things to put in there. You can get fleece roller. You can get filter socks. You can do filter pads. You can put protein skimmer in there. It's really endless. The sky is the limit. Your only limitation is the size of your space, and obviously the primary one, your budget. Drawbacks to sumps, they can be expensive. They're more complex, so it is much harder to just go to Petco or PetSmart and buy a tank and then just say, I'm going to put a sump on it, because now you have to think about plumbing, you have to drill holes in glass. There's a whole slew of things that need to go along with that. The way you can get around that is buying pre-made systems like Red Seas, some of the Planet Aquariums you can get that already have that built in. Okay. Now, me personally, I have thoroughly enjoyed the process I'm doing with my 90 gallon. It is very complex. I've been nerding out on it to the max, and it was not cheaper than buying a Red Sea tank. I'll be honest with you. If I would have bought a Red Sea tank, this would have been a lot cheaper, and I'd have had water in this thing a lot longer, a lot sooner. Okay. But the build phase of the aquariums is my favorite. So I love plumbing, thinking about the plumbing, building the stand, painting the stand, staining the stand, designing the overflows, designing redundancies, fail safes into my system if power goes out. There's 5 areas that can prevent a flood. Selecting the lights. There's all these complexities that come along with going this route, and it's not the most cheap. Okay, and the sump, it goes right along with this, really like the powerhouse of your aquarium. Okay, so canister filters. Okay, I have a lot of experience with canister filters from my freshwater days. Okay. Canister filters are plug and play. Large filter capacity, lots of media can go on a canister filter, and they get pretty big, and they can have big pumps on them. So, if you get an FX4, FX5, you can move some serious water through that canister filter. Okay? Now, the biggest drawback to a canister filter is ease of maintenance, and they're getting better. Some of the newer ones are better about this, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to take that thing out of your stand and take it into your sink or wash basin or out in your yard if it's a nice day, and you're going to have to take all that stuff out and rinse it out and put it back. Now, in a freshwater system, it's not, you can go a month with that, or a month or two, or even, gosh, some people go a year with limited negative problems for being inconsistent with maintenance. Saltwater is different, okay? When you have a canister filter and you don't regularly clean it, or any filter at all, and you don't regularly clean it and get the detritus, the rotten food, all those organic materials that usually would be caught, that are caught in your filter, when you don't get those out of there, they break down and they rot, and they create more organic material, more finer. They turn into, they do the nitrogen cycle. They become first ammonia, then they become nitrate, and then nitrate stays in your system. And depending on, this is not going to happen with the canister filter, so you're not going to be able to get rid of nitrates. But in the saltwater community, they generally say that canister filters are nitrate factories, okay? Because all that stuff gets trapped in there, and it just starts creating nitrates, high levels of nitrates. Okay? Not the end of the world. A lot of people have problems with not having enough nitrates. It's just you're gonna have battles with algae, okay? Long term, unless you're the super guy that keeps on the maintenance. Okay. Now the biggest one is that pre-filter, the one that gets the bigger particles. That one gets clogged the fastest. Okay, so the next type, the hang on the back. I personally believe that a new reefer, really any reefer, if they were to choose between a canister filter and a hang on the back, they would be better served with a hang on the back filter for one reason: ease of maintenance. Hang on the back filter, you need to change out your filter media, you reach out back, you pull it out, you throw it in the trash. Done. Okay? Easy. Seconds. Okay? You don't have as much water volume. You don't have nearly as much water volume as you would have with the canister or the sump. Okay? So there's that drawback. But the big benefit is that easy. You can get a really big, they make pretty good size hang on the back filters. AquaClear has a really nice big one. Some of them you can put heaters in, but it's not the prettiest. That's the big drawback to the hang on the backs. There's two drawbacks. The big one is, for me, is that it's not as aesthetically appealing. Okay? And the other one is that it's smaller. Okay? But you can get multiple ones. But I really think a new reefer that didn't want to go down have a sump would be better served with the hang on the back filter. Okay? And that has to do with being able to get that waste out of there regularly and quickly. The fourth type of filter or system that you can get is an all-in-one. Okay? These are your BioQs, these are your innovative marines. They are systems that have a chamber in the back that's partitioned off with a wall, and behind will be a series of chambers. There'll be an overflow chamber water flows into. Usually you put your heater there, and then it'll flow out of that into a center chamber, which is where your filter media will be. You can put inserts in there to get different things. You can put UV sterilizers in there. You can put, some of them have setups to have small refugiums, although many people will tell you that they're not very effective on all-in-ones. And then there's another chamber after that. It's usually where your return pump is. Okay. They are a very good middle point. So if I were to pick between, sump, yes, my first pick. Then I would do all-in-one. Then I would do hang on the back, and I would do canister last. Okay. The all-in-one, you get the benefit and ease of a hang on the back because it's very easy to just reach in the back and pull that dirty media out, the filter media, and throw it away. Very easy to do maintenance on those because it's just right there all in the same system, and it's open and exposed. And you get the benefit of the sump where you can still put other things back there, The drawback to those systems is that chamber, it can be small. You know, on smaller tanks it can be really small, so you're very limited on the size of equipment you can put in. Like I have a BioCube, 32-gallon BioCube, and that is my biggest beef with it, is that the skimmer is absolutely terrible, and there's very few options that I can use to put in there that will do any better. It's not big enough. And none of the ones that are in that size I think are any good. Maybe there's one that is good, but it's going to be too tall and I'll have to take my lid off, and I like having the lid on it because it doesn't evaporate very much. So there's just a lot more barriers with all-in-ones than opposed to, you know, a sump. Okay, hope that helps. There's, like I said, there's multiple choices, but if you're considering a canister filter, it is doable, but it is the least recommended by myself. And I think if you do some research, casual research of your own, you'll come to the same conclusion. Okay? And canister filters are not cheap by any measure. Okay, the biggest canister filters can be $400. Okay, the biggest hang on the back, the biggest ones you can get, maybe $100, $150 for a really nice one. And even if you were to get 2 of those, you know, you would do really well. Okay? Happy shopping. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you know, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm doing it for fun, but you just like to see where it goes. And the more people that like and subscribe, you know, the more influence it has, the more people get to see my material. And it just helps reinforce the things I'm doing are having a good effect on people. Okay, take care. Enjoy yourself.